he's gripped towards you, you're stuck in place. And then once that wears off, you're stuck in place again.
Well, one of the big things to note with playing RMP is that he will have Reels at his back to dispel Chains of Ice whenever they want to really get aggressive, and they know that another is going to be trying to spam Chains of Ice, such if they get a full CC, like a full Fear or full Blind onto Enigmas, you can expect Reels to be backing Enforcer up and making sure that he gets him to his target.
All right, so we'll follow Enforcer out from the start to see how exactly he handles this, because he knows he has to get on his target quickly.
Now looking at Enforcer, he does have 120 energy, and it actually looks like he has a pretty decent amount of PvE gear on, so we'll have to see how much damage he's actually... Yeah, he has almost 21k HP with Fort up, so definitely a little bit of a change-up for him. It looks like they're going to go for the full-on offensive, and I can guarantee you that Enigmas may be in a little bit of trouble.
I mean, SKUS does one thing best.
And actually, Enforcer's just going to backpedal out of the gates and then finally get into the action.
Showing off to the camera a bit.
And stealth at the top of the ramp. And now we see a Curse of Exhaustion onto Reels as he's coming across pretty early. And now here we see it. There's those Chains of Ice actually onto Reels. And out comes Pooch. And there's the open onto Inflames actually. Falls right into the kidney shot, taking a little bit of damage, but still nothing too serious yet. And Reels trying to get across the bridge. He's going to go right over to Enigmas and try to hit a Fear.
Enforcer is stuck in the center of the bridge right now, trying to get to his target, which isn't working too well. Now he's going to switch onto another. This is a target that they're going to want to try to kill.
And now you saw actually Enigmas jump off the bridge trying to avoid that Fear he saw coming, but Reels dropping very low, and another recognizes that, and they're going to go ahead and go over to him. Strangulated, 14,000 HP, 4k HP for Reels. Wow, barely makes it past that, a little late on the gnaw, and he looks like he's going to be fine through this as pain suppression is up. But we do have Poops into a Cyclone, and SKEU just completely controlling and putting out all the damage so far.
Yeah, he had to use his pain suppression and his HP clicky right there, so Enforcer trying to get onto Enigmas, but look what they're doing.
And now Enigma's getting pretty low throughout that, and Inflames caught into a poly. AMZ has been used. Now SKU is turning around a little bit, but a Fear onto Enforcer's dropped below 10,000 HP, but they're still just trying to put damage into Enigmas.
Enigma's realizing that AMZ was going to fade, so he travel formed and got out of there, but Enforcer is staying right on top of him.
Now coming around with the kidney shot, 7,500 HP, followed by a CS, 5k. Will devour the CS, actually. It looks like NS will not go off. Enigmas goes down, and SKUS turns it around and will take this first round.
And as you can see, Enforcer definitely went and remodeled his character with a mohawk to match his real life.
And now you thought Enforcer better look out, actually. He's got a full line of dots, and Real's going to have to try to pick him up. And in comes the penance. I don't think he actually casted on Enforcer, though, so Enforcer's still sitting at 10,000 HP, and Flames in another
his
not going to give up.
His binding heal just got locked out, so Reels has, there we go. Now his trees are back, so he is casting everything he can to keep Enforcer up.
And another sacking his cred, but still, I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Enforcer's still very low, though, and Reels not able to pick him up yet. And there again, Penitent himself is just not able to get across to Enforcer. And now, there we go, there's another kidney shot onto another, and he should go down, but Fear from Inflames onto Enforcer. Another running around sub 1,000, there we go, he will go down, leaving Inflames by himself. First win goes to SKUS.
Lots of damage out of Enforcer, look at that, 100,000, over 100,000 damage.
So that gear change out really looking to work for the team of SKUS. It was just so much damage on anything they decided to get to.
Maybe this is their answer to the resilience change.
More PvE gear?
Mm-hmm.
All right, game 2 going to be played on the Grand Arena. Now that first game, it went a little longer than I think SKUS would have liked, but still great swaps from Enforcer, and just really he was just the train rolling through SKEU, putting out damage all the way through that game.
Now, Enigmas did a great job of dropping down when he needed to, travel forming right at the right time, sitting in that AMZ. You know, he was doing a great job, but I mean, that's a lot of damage coming out from Poops and Enforcer.
And there we see it, Enforcer in his different gear setup from what we're used to seeing him in the tournament so far. And really, it looks like the answer, like you said, the answer for SKUS is just to put out so much damage. The Shadow Queef can't keep up with it, and really that looks over to Enigmas. They interrupt him just that little bit, get him to use a trinket, and he becomes a viable target as well.
Gates are about to open. we are going to follow about In Flames, see how they can handle this SKUS.
And last game, Enforcer did start out the opener onto In Flames, trying to control that very early game, making sure those dots don't begin rolling too soon. But honestly, it's the swaps that you really look for from this RMP.
All right, gates are open right now. If we could get an in-game camera. Awesome, there we go. All right, In Flames drops his portal behind the pillar right there and is starting to dot up Pooks.
And now we see In Flame coming out, actually dotting up the water elemental. Why not? He gets a corruption and a curse agony onto it, but still Enforcer not quite getting over In Flames. And there we go, finally establishing, drops him down to 12,000, and another caught into a poly. Some heals coming across, but still In Flames taking a lot of damage.
In Flame looking to spread dots everywhere, although only Pooks right now. We do have a Curse of Exhaustion. There he goes. Now he's going to get some up onto Reels, who has a whole string of dots on him. And now plus a Gargoyle.
And Enigma's caught into a fear. This is where some trouble could happen. In Flames caught in a cheap shot into a kidney. AMZ is up and getting a lot of damage, and there's a deep freeze following that onto Enigma's. But In Flames is going to get out of there, and there comes Enigma's trying to pick him up. And another deep freeze, so there's that cold snap coming across from Pooks. And now we see a lot of damage rolling onto the side of SKUS, but Enigma's under fire now, dropping below 10,000, and again, another caught into a sheet.
Lots of damage onto Enigma's right now. Waiting for, there he goes. Now he's going to wait for that, so he can drop the snare off and get away. Look at now, he's in actually a decent position, being able to toss heals without having anyone come right up in his face.
And now In Flames in a lot of trouble again inside that kidney shot, dropping down below 4,000 HP, 1,000 HP before the heals start coming in, but a blind onto another, a fear onto Enigma's. He's still not out of the woods yet, and there we go. Enforcer will score the kill onto In Flames' pet. He is going to bring out that next pet, so Feldom has been used for In Flames.
This map is going long again, just like last time, but look at Enforcer in a gnaw. Oh, wow, dropped him so fast, and that's what you get when you wear PvE gear.
Can't dodge, bro, whenever you're not, and that was pretty much the story there. That's a lot of damage on Enforcer, opting to use PvE gear over a lot of resilience. So after 2 games, SKUS and EU tied up 1-1.
So they've identified where their weakness is against SKUS, and Enigmas was playing great that time.
All right, both of these teams will have a few minutes to talk things over and decide if they want to change anything up. But with this tied situation of 1-1, I assume both teams are going to stick with what they know.
Yeah, and on the screen it should be 1-1. We'll get that updated any second. There we go. All right, and as you can see on the right is going to be the team of SKUS. Of course, Enforcer going to be closest to you, followed by Pooks and Reels, which is going to be hard to see very on the end. And of course, on the left, we do have SKUS, who basically hiding in the dark.
EU, and that's In Flames, another, and then Enigmas. Honestly, pretty even setup so far. Both teams taking a win after 2 games, and it doesn't look like either team's really standing up and talking things through. So it looks like they're just going to stick to what they've been doing so far in the game.
Just waiting for the queue. We have the tournament admin over near us right now, and he's probably going to tell them to queue any second so we can get this match, or this next round started.
So while we have a little bit of downtime, we will turn it over to the Ask the Cast thread on gotfrag.com under the WoW general discussion. And our next question is, what do you think, if any, could pose as a successful competitive triple DBS team? Button bashers.
Button bashers. Oh, yeah.
You can't count number 1 out. I mean, in a lot of those games, he did just as much damage as Heron and Orange Marmalade.
They could have put number 1 onto Complexity's team, and he would have done more damage than the Enhancement Shaman every single time.
You're going to keep going back to
I am. That was a great round.
All right.
There's actually a good question above that about sponsored teams and how it exactly works. If you get chosen, this is an invite-only tournament, but MLG does not pay your way, obviously. That's why we do have great sponsors, obviously, like SK, Check 6, all of these. Anyone who's here is sent because of their sponsors.
And also, one of the big things to talk about coming into Anaheim is actually Complexity, picking up a team from the Wild Card Tournament and paying their way to come out here, and that, of course, being BHMS, and they've actually been making a pretty strong showing so far.
They have. They are Actually, I do believe they're going to be one of the top 4 teams right now in terms of the amount of rounds they've played versus how many they've won and lost.
So it looks like we're going to head into Game 3, being played on Blades Edge Arena. And again, this is a map I think that favors SKEU just a little bit because it gives Enigmas that extra room and, of course, portals for Inflames if he decides, if Enforcer is trying to put pressure on Inflames, he can jump off and put that decision on Enforcer. Do I chase or do I not?
Yeah, I don't see a single piece of PvP gear on Enforcer. I mean, maybe his helm's hidden. But I mean, I'd assume that he'd be probably using 2-piece, right? At least.
Who knows? I mean, honestly, it looks like they're just going for that pure rush-down strat, and worked out for him once. We'll have to see if they can continue on, but we'll get you an in-game camera in just a moment here as the game is about to start, and this is the 3rd game between SKEU and SKUS.
All right, so the gates are going to open any second. We are going to be following Enforcer out of the start, of course, to see how his opener goes, which we can only assume he's either going to start on Inflames if he can't get to Enigmas right away, or he's going to try to kill Enigmas from the beginning all the way to the end.
And now last time on this map, Reels playing very aggressive, trying to get across to Enigmas and get that fear off, but was unable to. And a little bit of backpedal before he does decide to stealth. I think that's going to be his signature move, and still just hanging back. And now he's going to go ahead and cut through that D&D. He does have power, shield up, and now he's actually just going to go onto Inflame. He is caught in that deep freeze, drops below 10,000 very quick. We have a sheep onto another, and there's a fear coming through, but Enforcer's going to get right back on Inflames, who does portal to their side of the bridge.
We got all those hots onto Inflames already, and look, we got Poops casting onto Enigmas too. But Enigmas all the way down at the bottom. This happened last time Enigmas did this. He caught a very, very bad fear.
And now actually all members of SKUS under a little bit of pressure. Now Enforcer getting those chains of ice as he tries to get over to Inflames, but still Inflames sitting around 20,000 HP, so not a lot of pressure coming through just yet. But a big fear onto Enigmas, and another caught into a deep freeze. And now you see it, Enforcer just trying to stick onto Inflames. Now Inflames is down bottom, so once his portal cooldown comes up, he does have that option to go back up. But look at that grip from another, pulling Enforcer back up to the top of the map.
We're going to stick on Enigmas again, who has Bark skin up right now and able to hot himself and switch back into tree form.
Yeah, Enigmas, and there's AMZ up to mitigate a little bit of damage. Now Inflames caught into Poly, will trinket and be immediately feared, which he will have to will. So great control coming through from SKUS, and there's that innervade from Enigmas. Now we have a blind onto another, no answer for that, so he's going to sit through it. But Reels actually was death coiled during that. He will pain suppression and try to mitigate a lot of this damage rolling onto him now as those dots from Inflames are starting to roll.
Another's in a sheep right now. No way of getting out of it. Inflames in a kidney shot. But look at that. They are going to do the switch onto Enigmas. The entire team, except for Pooks now, chasing Enigmas out. And great foresight by Enigma to turn around, use those angles correctly, and cyclone him behind that pillar.
Now Pook's in a little bit of trouble, dropping below 10,000. He does have block up. And now a fear onto Reels, making sure he can't get any heals across to Pooks. And he's actually going to go over in Evo K, but Enforcer dropping down low as another is going to establish onto him, and we have a Cyclone onto Reels afterwards. Now Enforcer drops down to under 4,000. In comes that Drain, so 994 HP, and down goes Enforcer. SKEU taking the round.
Enigma's totally turned that around right there. When he ran up the ramp and Cyclone Enforcer, then he positioned himself onto where the Shadow Sight spawns up on that pillar, was able to Cyclone Reels over and over.
Great job by SKEU, looking very dominant in these games, but still SKUS with a little bit of scary spikes here and there, doing a lot of damage, but of course that's pretty much a result of Enforcer's gear choice in this series.
And they are going to be leaving this Blade's Edge. I do believe this will be the 3rd time that we'll... Yeah, there they go. Now they're leaving that, so we'll wait for them to re-queue and get into another arena.
After 3 games played, EU over US 2-1. And boy, as this day goes on, you can hear it. The voice is not feeling too good these long days. And of course, tomorrow being another day like this, we're going to have a ton of WoW action to bring you as we finish out the round robin and try to find our top 4 teams that will advance to the double elimination bracket and try to place in that top 3, which of course will bring home a lot of money.
So it looks like Dalaran Arena is going to be our 4th round. And if SKEU can clinch this round, that means they're going to take the entire series.
So on the left, SKUS. On the right, SKEU. And I'm really looking to SKEU to dominate in this situation. They do have that second level for Inflames to work with. He can jump off and then portal back up to the top level. And it just gives Enigmas as well a little bit more room to run around those boxes and kite situations. So, again, a map that I think favors SKEU a little more.
Yeah, Inflames has been using his portal so successfully on this map so far today.
And looking over to Enforcer, it looks like he is going with that same gear choice that we've seen him do in the past 3 games.
Okay, so we'll see what Inflames can do to try to control this team.
Yep, Inflames doing a great job. And also really looking over to another, and it's the same thing that we talked about before, even with the Dispeller behind you, Chains of Ice onto a Rogue after Cloak is down, it's such... It works so well. I mean, basically Enforcer unable to get to targets in key moments, and another knows that.
Yeah, and if Reels needs to spend the mana, it's a lot of mana he can go into these Chains of Ice.
So a very early Nova coming out from Pooks' Water Elemental, and he's just going to come right into the action. But it looks like Enigmas is going to be the one under fire as Enforcer gets over to him immediately. Cheap shot into Kidney. And they're going to, and now a quick fear on Enforcer. A little late Will of Forsaken there and trying to get back over to his target. We do have a CS followed by a Fear onto Inflames, trying to keep him out of the fight. Deep Freeze onto Enigmas. And now we see it. He's going to try to kite away on the other side, and a great grip by another, pulling Enforcer back over to that side of things.
It's a scary situation. Both Enforcer and Reels were getting low. Enforcer taking a lot of damage, but all those dots all over Reels.
Now Inflames, the one under pressure after Enigmas was able to get away. Another caught into a poly for a moment there, but broken out almost immediately. Now we see Inflames from that bottom level getting up a good amount of dots onto Reels once again.
Starting up Pooks' Water Elemental too, but Enigma is taking a bunch of damage because he's stuck down bottom with Pooks and Enforcer. And there we go.
This is not looking good at all inside of AMZ, but is it in time? Kidney shot 10,000 HP, just trying to get away, but just getting chained with CCs, and now he's caught into that fear, and he does have hots up, but will it be enough? Wow, that Swiftman picking him up back up to 14,000 HP, and once again, Inflames caught into a poly, but look at that. Enigma's having the time to get a Cyclone off.
This is what happened last time.
And then
and you get dropped from 50 to 0.
And Enforcer, when he gets caught in a gnaw and just that little bit of damage coming across from another, it's too much when Enforcer does not have much resilience on. And that's going to do it. SKEU will win the series 3-1. Of course, we will play out that 5th and final game as it may influence the standings at the end.
Now, we thought Enigmas was going to be in a very bad position. However, Inflames comes out of nowhere with that instant howl, breaking up everyone that was hiding in that AMZ. And here we go. They queue up immediately for the Ruins of Lordaeron.
And SKUS, a much quieter team that we're used to seeing from past times. And still, on the other side of things, even when SKEU is winning, they seem cold and calculated. Every time they go through things, it's just like they're swinging through the motions. So on Ruins of Lordaeron, left again SKUS, on the right SKEU. And I'm expecting pretty much one of the same situations. SKEU is going to try to make it through cooldowns on Enforcers. They know he's in PvE gear, and they're going to try to take advantage of it. Just make it to the point and land a null while he has a few dots up, and all it takes is another to put that little bit of damage into him, and it's going to be too much for Reels to keep up with.
All right, so we'll follow Pooks out of the start to see if he can give Enforcer a hand trying to stop this Druid.
Yeah, and I mean, they even had a pretty clean opener on Enigmas in that last game, but no chance of rushing him down as he fully hots himself before, Enforcer can even get onto that side of their arena. So, honestly, I'm not sure how they're going to pull this off if they're going to go for the Druid rush down, but I expect, maybe an opener onto Inflames and then an early blind and then the swap to Enigmas, giving that little bit of more momentum going into it.
All right, so the gates should open any second. We are going to be following Pooks, the mage from SKUS, as he normally plays very aggressive on this map over the tomb in the center, but Chains of Ice right from the start.
And there he goes. He will make it over, and we do see a Kona Cole coming across, but the opener onto Inflames. Big Fear and a Deep Freeze onto Enigmas at the same time. Now followed by a blind on Enigmas. Inflames down to 10,000 HP, 5,000 HP, and a lot of trouble. Inflames trying to get out of there. NS does come up, but he is CS'd. And he's trying to get Inflames back up, but still under 10,000 HP. There's that cheap shot, so Enforcer just rushing him down, and down goes Inflames So in the end, SKUS able to rush down in Flames, not Enigmas, and bring it back to 3-2.
That's rough. You know, Enigma's had a very tough decision to make. Should he trinket? Because he knows what's coming right after the trinket. Whenever you're playing RMP, you're going to get blinded.
And even from SKUS, they could have cleaned it up a little more. That Fear and Deep Freeze were stacked on top of one another, and he was able to trinket out of both of those, but it didn't really matter. They had the blind up, but still able to be cleaned up a bit by SKUS, but Rushdown does work in the end onto the Warlock in Flames of SKEU, but it's not enough, as SKEU will win the series 3-2 over SKUS. Now, we will take a short commercial break, but Jared and I will be right back in just a moment here live at Anaheim for the Major League Gaming 2009 PC Circuit played on HP.